Hello, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us today um, for a Microsoft Word deep dive into styles. My name is Justin White, and I'm the lawyer in residence at Lawyaw. And I work with many of our users to help them streamline their document automation and drafting workflows. I also help develop new ways of delivering legal services to use technology with the goal of increasing access to justice. And I'm thrilled to introduce Greg Maxey. Greg is a retired U.S. Navy commander with over 30 years of service to our country. I want to thank you for your service, Greg. Greg is also an incredibly knowledgeable Microsoft Word expert and consultant. He's the publisher of The Anchorage, which you can view at gregmaxey.com. I recommend that you bookmark that website. It has lots of great tips and tricks and is a really an excellent resource for all things Microsoft Word. And Greg, I really appreciate you joining us today. Very excited for this webinar.
Happy to be here, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. So just a couple of housekeeping issues before we get started. Feel free to drop any questions into the chat section, and we'll do our best to answer them at the end. If we can't get to them all, we're happy to continue the discussion offline. So feel free to ask questions. So our agenda for today, we're going to very briefly, I'll introduce you to Lawyaw and how it interacts with Microsoft Word. And then I'll turn it over to Greg for a discussion of Microsoft Word basics. And then a deep dive into working with styles, including some very practical tips and best practices. And then again, we'll have some time at the end for questions. So very briefly about Lawyaw, what we are is we are a no-code template builder that integrates with Microsoft Word. So it's a tool that lets you turn your own documents into model templates. And then the other component of the tool is a document automation platform where you can use those templates to draft documents to help with all your repetitive drafting. And it's cloud-based, and it allows you to reuse information over and over again so that you don't have to enter again across the life cycle of a matter. This slide here is what our Microsoft Word add-in, Lawyaw add-in looks like. So the way it works is it lives in the Microsoft Word ribbon up here, and you load it, and you can turn any of your Microsoft Word docx documents into model templates by inserting fields in all the sections where text changes. You can insert conditional logic, and you can also insert multiple choice so that you just simply select an option and the corresponding text will fill out in the appropriate place. So here are a split screen of the two components of our tool. So once you have the template built here on the right hand side, you're able to access it in the Lawyaw platform, which is where you can review your matter information. You can complete the template, and ultimately here's a picture of what the flow looks like in the Lawyaw platform. So here you're selecting an option, and the corresponding text is going to appear in the document. And when you're ready, the final product is just a Microsoft Word document. You're able to download it. You're able to send it out for e-signature. You see here the highlighted sections are all the changeable text, and you can easily toggle that on or off. It makes it easier to review. But when you're ready for the final product, you just turn it off, and you have a clean, error-free document. So where Lawyaw and Microsoft really intersect is in that Lawyaw can preserve all your Microsoft Word formatting. So if you have images, you have headers, you have numbering, spacing elements, everything in your document we can preserve in our model templates. And so it's really important to start with a document that you're happy with as far as the stylings and the formatting, because once you turn it into a model template, anybody on your team that uses that template for drafting will be able to have those same style elements, and you'll have consistent work product across your whole organization. Greg, I'll turn it over to you now to get us into some of the Microsoft Word basics.
All right. Well, good afternoon if you're on the East Coast. As Justin introduced me, I'm Greg Maxey. I'm been working with Microsoft Word for over 25 years, and I think it's important before we go deep dive into the styles is just to cover a few of the basics of Microsoft Word. And the first thing is the Word is not a typewriter. It's a word processor. And as a word processor, that means there's an awful lot of things that go on behind the under the hood in Microsoft Words. Prior to Word 2007, if you've been around for a while, you might be familiar with Word 97, Word 2000, Word 2003. But prior to 2007, a Word document or file was a binary file format, which basically was just a big collections of ones and zeros. And a processor inside your computer converted those ones and zeros to words, sentences, paragraphs, pages, so on and so forth. In 2007, Microsoft adopted the Office Open XML file format, and that is similar to the zeros and ones, except for it's just an XML file, which is a structured set of information that is, again, when the format is run through a computer processor and print driver, they produce or display what looks like on the screen and on a piece of paper Word document. Word, the application Word, or the word processor, is an object model that consists of methods, properties, and collections of other objects. And these objects are nested like Russian dolls. For example, if you're using Word and have two different documents open, and the application documents collection would have two objects. The document object contains smaller pieces, which is a document, sections, paragraphs, words, all the way down to characters. It's important to note that in Microsoft Word that there is no page object. A page in Microsoft Word is just something that is created by the printer driver that the application is connected to. If you might not see this in small documents like a simple pleading or letter, but if you have a book that's several hundred pages long, that book might be 205 pages on my computer, and it might be 208 pages on the person sitting next to you. It just depends on what printer driver the processor is generating the display on. So it is not a publishing tool. It's not really a layout tool. And if you want a Word document, if you're sending Word documents to customers and you want them to be consistent, it's always better just to convert them to PDF first. Two different things about in Word: you have what's called a document and you have a template. A document is something you create, print, and use, or something you create and email it to a client to read and review. A template is something you create documents from. Every time you launch Word, Word automatically creates a new blank document using application normal template. The normal template defines everything: the page size, the page orientation, the margins, the font size, font color, line spacing, space between paragraph, about how new blank documents will look. If you don't change the default layout and formatting definitions in the normal template, then all new blank documents will look or be branded like Microsoft decides they should look. The normal template is indestructible. You can change it and alter it, and if you mess it all up, you can just simply delete it, and the next time you launch Word, it will create a new normal template, and again, all the branding will look like Microsoft wanted it to look like. Word is intended to be used to create documents from your templates, the templates that you as a firm create and define, so your letters, pleadings, memos, objections, etc. have a consistent brand across the range of documents you create and distribute it. Your templates can contain boilerplate content, graphics, text, letterhead, different sections, so on and so forth. Basically, the Lawyaw templates that you would use with Lawyaw are those sort of templates, but it would be up to you and the firm to define the type of branding that you wanted it to have. And one of the primary methods, with the exception of page orientation and layout, to define your branding is to use styles. I've been using Word for 25 years. I've known people that have been using Word longer than I have, and they still have no idea what a style is. A style is not a method of dress or what is popular in one culture or another. A style is basically just a set of attributes that define how your various pieces and parts of text is going to look. Every element of Word, whether you thought you were using them or not, is defined by a style, and I'll show you that in a few minutes when we start looking at a couple of examples. Styles are named, and the name just basically defines the set of predefined formatting that you will have repeated through the documents. Headings in a report are a perfect example. Perhaps in your firm reports, you want your headings to be all caps, centered, bold, with font size slightly larger than the regular body text. You could go through the laborious process of manually formatting your report headings each time you type one, or you can define a report heading style and use it. And that's what we want to get you to do as you go forward using Word in your career. Why would you want to use styles? Well, again, you don't have a choice, because whether you know it or not, you are using a style every time you use Word. But the reasons to define and use your own style is for consistency. They're easier to modify than redoing or reformatting text manually. They're efficient in working and navigating through the document. They're invaluable for creating tables of contents. They lead to faster navigation through the document. They're invaluable, again, for working with the outline view in documents and outline numbering, and in later on creating HTML and XML off of your files should you need to go down that path. There are several different types of styles in Word, but for this particular presentation, we're going to deal with the character style and the paragraph style. A character style can be applied to individual words, and yes, even individual characters. Character styles are based on the default paragraph font, which is defined using the Home tab in the Font Group dialog box launcher, which I will show you later in the presentation. A paragraph style contains both font and paragraph formatting, which makes it more flexible than a character style. When you apply a paragraph style, the formatting affects the entire paragraph. For example, when you center text, you cannot center a single word. Instead, the entire paragraph is centered. Other types of paragraph level format that styles control are line spacing, single space, double space, etc., text alignment, bullets, numbers, indents, tabs, and borders. There is a such thing referred to as a linked style. Linked styles can be used for both paragraph formatting or character formatting. When used on particular text within a paragraph, the linked styles act as character styles. When applied to a paragraph, they act as a paragraph style. When used on text at the beginning of a paragraph, linked heading styles can be a source for a table of contents. The style pane, which I'll show you later in the presentation, has a checkbox to disable these. And yes, you believe it or not, you should keep that box checked. When you do, the link styles behave simply as paragraph styles, which is what they really are, because there's a lot of background and baggage associated with link styles, and they're what I call cannonball polish, designed for creating run-in headings, and you can avoid using them completely and achieve the same results using a style separator. The table style is one we're not going to cover, but I just wanted to bring it up in here. There's a big collection of them, 247 different ones. They're used primarily with the document theme concept, which I think is simply more cannonball polish. Professional people and law firms and so on and so forth don't typically use artwork in different colors for their documents. It's black and white, strictly business, and that's what we're going to basically be showing here today. There are two, the two most primarily ones are the simple table grid without borders, which is based on the table normal without borders, and they are often used for signature blocks and caption blocks within legal documents, and you'll see those in the example document that we create. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. I have a Word document opened, and I'm just going to give you an example of. Here I have a Word document that I'm going to shrink down a little bit so where everyone can see the more of it. Justin, is this document displaying full screen for you?
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay. What I have here is a document that is basically created like this person thought that Word was a typewriter. They just opened up the document and they started typing. And some things that you should see that stand out to you, because I have, using the Home tab, I have what's called Show Non-Printing Characters appearing here. That you can see that in this document, I have things like these little backward P's, they're called Velcros, and that they appear to be used to create the spacing in this particular document, where we've got quite a bit of space here. We've used these things, and I've got some here, so on and so forth. But when you're using style, some of the elements that you have on the style, on the Home tab for using styles, is you have what's called the style view bar here, which is going to give you the look of styles that are built in, some of the built-in styles. But more importantly, you have what's called the style pane, which is launched using this dialog box launcher here, or with the shortcut Alt-Control-Shift-S. And what that gives you is a pane called the styles pane that's showing what styles are used in this document. And as you can see, that the only style that is currently in use is the normal style. The normal style is part of the normal template. It's built into Word, and it can't be destroyed. And all new documents, first time you type the first character, has the normal style applied to it. In the options here of the style pane, this is where, I'm sorry, just one second. This is where I basically indicated where you should leave your disable your link styles in this checkbox right here. In the options of the style pane, you have the option to show direct formatting as styles, so they will appear in this dialog. And when you do that, which I've checked all three of them here, you're going to see just what a collection of strange looking things that have been applied to this document to create all these different, and as an example for you, here in this particular paragraph for attorney for the petitioner, we have this direct formatting applied as italic. Here we have this bold applied as a bold direct formatting. And any time that you would apply direct formatting text, I'm just going to give a quick example here, create some X's, and I'm going to make it red. I have some red text here appearing in this document. So these tools are useful in helping a person who is cleaning up a document or is taking a document that somebody else has started, and they're looking to see if it's properly formatted, to see if there is any direct formatting applied into the document. And the ideal in a document is to eliminate as much direct formatting as you possibly can. So I'm going to turn those back on just so you can see them. So, here we have some bold, and you can select the different pieces of the document that have this direct formatting in it, and it will highlight it for you. So this is an example of a document that is basically created where the person was using Word like a typewriter and then was just going in and painting formatting on the existing text. I'm going to close this document, and then I'm going to open up a document that I've created that has styles applied to it. And in this basically this, what did I just do here? Oh, wait a minute. For my attorney ID block. What we have here is we've got some styles where this is a block of text, and I'm going to show you all the instances of this text. We have a text down here, text up here. Here is a style called the relationship. It's going to apply this to this particular piece of text. And notice that we don't have any empty paragraphs in this document, because if I look at this relationship style and I look at some of the attributes of it, in its paragraph, we have given it the definition of putting 12 points before that particular paragraph of text. In this particular example here, this is our pleading title style. You'll notice that it has some of its particular attributes is that it has bold font applied to it. Its paragraph has got 36 points of space before it, 12 points of space after it. It's centered in the document. Another example of style attributes that you can apply, if we look at the three instances of our signature line style, if we look at its paragraph, it is indented at 3.5, and it has 12 points of space before it and 12 points of space after it. Another good example of using styles is for our date block here, our date line here. We typically would want this text to appear on the same page as the signature that follows it. So on this date line style, we have formatting, paragraph, line and page breaks. We keep it with the next, so it will always stay with the next paragraph of text. And to give you an example here, I'm going to bring these lines up to where you notice that both of them pop up when that occurs, not just the one paragraph. And using those same tools that I mentioned earlier, if I have those checked, if somebody comes into this document and applies some direct formatting, like for example, they want to bold this word, we would get this flag here that someone has taken the relationship style and added bold formatting to it. The proper way to do that is where we have done this. This is our relationship style here. This is formatting that is applied to it, but it is the emphasis character style, which is part of the words built-in style sets. In this document here, we have used a table, which is basically is the table grid style that has no borders on it, has 3 columns, which are used to separate our text and create the layout that we wanted to see for the pleading caption. Now, there's lots of tools that you can apply for using styles. I'm going to close this document, and I'm going to create a new blank document. Okay. And as we can see, in all new documents, we have our style in use, which is the normal style. Now, I want to show a couple differences here about these particular uses. we have this here that's called in use, and we have this other option that's called in current document. And as you can see that there are a lot of styles in this document that are not actually being used. The way that works is that if a style is ever used in a template and it's a built-in style, then it will continue to be applied in this particular list anytime you create a new document based off of that template. This new document is based off of my normal template, and since I have used all these styles in the past in my normal template, they will appear if you use the option in current document. If you want to see only what is in use, then you select the in use column. And then there are the other options are you can apply all styles, which is going to give you the list of all the styles that are built-in styles that are defined by Word, excluding the table styles, and any custom styles that a user might have created for this particular document or template. And then the other is recommended styles, and that's just Microsoft's built-in definitions of what do we want to appear, in the style pane. I always use in use because for my purposes, I am usually cleaning up documents, so I want to be able to see what has happened to the formatting within the document. Other things that you can do with the style pane options is you can, with the addition of checking these three boxes, is this would just, if you use heading 1, as soon as you use heading 1, heading 3 is going to show up in the pane regardless if you use it or not. Or you can hide a built-in name if you give a style an alternate name. Some of the other tools that you have here in the style pane are what's called the manage styles. And with the manage styles, this is how you can import and export styles from another template or document. And what I typically do when I'm engaged to work with law firms is that I will encourage that the firm create a master template that contains all the style definitions that they're going to use across their documents. And then when they go to create one of the individual documents, whether it be a letterhead, a memo, a fax transmittal, or whatever the case might be, then those predefined styles that have been defined by with their firm branding can be imported and exported from a document. And that's simply a matter to do that. You simply import and export. And this is where you have your styles. This would be your new template. This would be the firm's master template bank, and you would just select the ones that you need and copy them over to your new template. When you can also use this particular device I'm sorry, hang on just one second. You can modify certain aspects of the paragraph, its text, using this particular file. The other thing is that you can predefine how your particular styles are recommended in the style pane. This, in my opinion, is somebody that doesn't have much better to do but it's there. It's cannonball polish. You have the ability to restrict styles. For example, you can define a style and then you can prevent anyone from being able to modify the formatting of that particular style. That's a little deep for this discussion, but if someone is interested in that, I would be happy to talk with them about it offline if they would like. And you have the ability to set defaults for your particular style set. Another tool is the style inspector. The style inspector, if anybody is coming over from WordPerfect, the style inspector is kind of Microsoft's answer to being able to show people what's been applied to a particular style. If we had if we had some text here and we did some formatting with it, bold and underline, so on and so forth, and we use the style inspector, and we selected this particular example of text here, we would see that we have the default paragraph. The text level formatting is default paragraph font with underline applied to it. So that's what that's giving you there. The next thing I would like to do is just for illustration purposes is let's look at what this last two here is the one for you to define your own style. And for example, you might wish to have a style that is defined for a pleading caption. So you just give it a name. You're going to tell it what type it is. And again, what we're looking for mainly is between paragraph and character. That's what we want it to be. It's a paragraph style because it's going to be applied to a paragraph element of text. And a lot of times styles by default are based off the normal style, because the normal style defines the default font size, different things like that of a particular paragraph. But in this case, we're just looking at a pleading caption. So some of the things we might be wanting to do with that is the font. We might want it to be all caps. We might want it to be bold. We might want it to be underlined. Then we would look at the paragraph formatting. The paragraph formatting, we might want it to be aligned in the center of the document. We might want our 36 points of space before it and our 12 points of space after it. And now this document has a pleading caption, and if I type my caption, it might be in the Superior Court. But you get it like that. And that becomes our pleading caption style. All right, I'm going to go back to the using styles document just real quick here, just to show you some of how you can get efficiencies in the. We had this pleading style here. I'm going to use the example that I'm going to use is this highlighted text here, this italic text here, the italic text down here, and it's also in the footer of the document. If, for example, and this is our character style called emphasis. If, for example, the managing partner, the court, a particular judge or whatever, decides that he or she wants the formatting of what used to be italic like that to be bold and underlining. If we were using direct formatting, the way to fix that would be to come in here, select this text, bold and underline, and take away the italic. Now that fixes that instance, but down here we still have the same text that wasn't corrected. So the beauty of using a style is that we could say we're going to modify our emphasis style, and it's no longer going to be italic, but it's going to be bold and underlined. And when we do that, we fix every instance of the document where that particular formatting was applied into the text. That's a very simple example because this is a very simple document, but hopefully you can appreciate that if you had direct formatting applied to a document with 10, 15, 20, 200 pages of it, and you had to manually go in and fix it all, that styles definitely prove their worth when it comes to formatting the document. Styles are also good for navigating through the document. You can see your particular pieces of text that way. We can see our list paragraphs just by selecting them, how they are brought out. You'll see here that we have a list paragraph, and and it gives us 22 instances. I have a numbered list here that goes 1 through 19. And also we have an alpha numbered list that goes A through C. So 19 and 3 is 22, 23 of course, 22. And we've got the 22 instances. And they are called in the style pane a list paragraph. Actually, what they are, they're outlined paragraphs that was created using a list style here. I have one called an alpha list, and I have one called a numbered list. If I just hover over it, you can sometimes see it, but yeah, there it goes, numbered list, alpha list. And when you, in the easy world of using Word as a typewriter, I'm not going to save this, I'm just going to open up a blank document again, or this one right here. If somebody wanted a numbered list, I'm going to go back and apply my normal style, options. If someone simply applies a bulleted list, they automatically create a list paragraph here. That's because Microsoft Word with Word 2010 created the list paragraph as the basic underlying formatting of any list that you create using these buttons up here to give you the ability to make your list look different than normal paragraphs. But one of the problems with using the built-in bulleted list here, they're fine for single levels like this, but when you start using indented lists, you'll see that they quickly lose any sense of clean formatting. I mean, this right here doesn't look good like that. I mean, it would look much better if it was like that, but that would require manual formatting. That's the beauty of creating list styles with the new list style features, so you can set up your numbered list and bulleted list so that they actually flow well when you're having more than one level. The only other thing that I would like to discuss before I open it up for questions and answers is I said that we should disable this link styles because it's got a lot of baggage behind it. Some of you may be interested in, the run-in headings as they're called, and just exactly how you do that. And I'm going to give you an example of that where I have a heading here. I have a heading here called test. And then I want to create a run-in heading. You use what's called a style separator to create a run-in heading, and the shortcut for that is Control, Alt, and Enter. And as you see there that I get my little backward P, then I get a new paragraph. I'm sorry. This is how we get our run-in head, where we have both what's called a heading style and regular text that's on the same line. And if we go to create a table of contents, all we get is the part of the paragraph that is the run-in or the heading. We don't get the whole thing. That's my quick 30 minutes on styles. I'm going to basically go back into the webinar now and open this up for any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Greg. That was excellent. A lot of good information. At Lawyaw, we're really serious about formatting because our users are serious about formatting, and that is, I know a lot of people are using Microsoft Word every day and may not know all the capabilities of the style function. So thank you. That was incredible.
Okay.
As far as questions, I think, Greg, you hit a lot of information and maybe answered everybody's questions, because I haven't seen any come through. Here we go. Here's one. Thank you, Betty. Greg, the question is, do you have any great ideas to get more users focused on styles? Betty feels like it's a never-ending battle, and I'm sure she's not alone with that feeling.
Well, Betty, as Justin mentioned, I spent 30 years in the Navy, and in the military, the organizations is, if the captain says this is the way we're going to do things, this is the way they're going to be done. And the only suggestion that I can give you, I don't know what your place is in the organization, but if you have a channel to whoever it is that is your office manager or your managing partner, that someone that is responsible to answer to the boss of what our documents should look like, is that we as a firm are going to create a standard brand for our documents. This is the way our headings are going to look. This is the way our pleading captions are going to look. And it's really just a matter of somebody that is willing to lay down the law, so to speak. I mean, I don't know how to make people. I mean, like I say, if you create styles and you have a 20-minute, 30-minute training session on, with your people that are creating documents, that these are the styles that we have created, and these are the styles that we want you to use, and this is how you do it. If they're cooperative people, then they will do that. If they're uncooperative people, then you're probably out of the loop, and that's just something between whoever it is that enforces the rules, and are they willing to allow people to continue to create work and create delays because they're not using the tools that they've been given to use.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us, and want to thank you, Greg. This is a great presentation. And to the audience, please don't feel like this is your only opportunity to ask questions. We love talking about this stuff, so feel free to reach out to us offline, and we're happy to continue the discussion. So thanks again for joining, and have an excellent day.